Hey guys, I'm just showing you a couple of features of the 2018 Triumph Tiger in case you're interested in it. In case you're looking at an adventure bike and find one at a dealer that you might want. This is the key fob. Back's the button. Pops out. Tail light. That releases the passenger seat. Okay, I just released the passenger seat with the key. Just showing you a couple of features inside under the passenger seat. There's your toolkit. Right here is an extra USB port in case you're carrying a lot of extra stuff to plug in. But this bike has plenty of ports to plug things in, I'll tell you that. Yeah, you have one accessory port right under here. A dim socket, I think, right under the passenger hold bars. And there's your heated switch. This model has a heated seat. There's the heated switch for the passengers. Here's the brackets to attach to side boxes. The 1200s are shaft driven, which is awesome. I love that. No maintenance or barely any maintenance. This one's a little dirty. Just got it back from the shop. We were in an accident. Got hit by an SUV. And I attached a kickstand plate to this one. You got a quick shifter in there too. Up and down. It's one of the best quick shifters. I added the crash bars to it and the skid plate. Just had the recall done on the Brembo calipers, which is brand new brake pads. And this model is the XRT. This bike's been rebuilt the whole front again. Involved in a pretty nasty accident. Tank pad. This is what it looks like when you're riding it or sitting on it. Show you some of the features of the dash scene. This model has the heated grips. At least the turn signals were LEDs like in England and Europe. That's what it looks like on the headlights on. Comes with Metzler tires, the WP suspension, which you can adjust in sport mode or any kind of mode. I also added the headlight guard, which I don't know, I'm still debating if I want to keep it on. This one has the aero exhaust. Single-sided swing arm. This is what the tail light looks like. Here's a top box floating plate, which you have to add. And then I installed the side bags or hard cases carriers. It's got a lot of features. The oil plug, foot pegs. The trellis frame. This one I installed the radiator guard. Glad I did. A lot of rocks coming. Got a brand new tire on it from the accident. The rim broke in the accident and the tire had to get replaced. New fog lights. I love these fog lights, they're pretty nice. They illuminate a lot. Little aerodynamic plastics, throw the air up just in case you're thinking about buying this bike or an adventure bike. This is a very nice bike. Just Word of caution is that it's very, very top heavy, and I'm coming from the sport bike world, which I had a 2015 Yamaha R1, so that bike felt super light to me. This is just a generic brake caliper. I'm not sure if it's Nissan or not. And you got the kickstand, which is awesome when you have to work on your rear tire or your front. You can always pull the back down so you can work on it. This is the radiator, the fillet. Mine's a little dirty. It just came back from the shop after 2 months of getting fixed. I'll sit on it. I'll show you some of the features. That's what the dash looks like. There's a few features, like it changes the trip. And then that's the automatic suspension. You can actually adjust it with this joystick. It's kind of standard joystick for all the new Triumphs. Here's the button to change the modes. So you got street mode, sport mode, I forget what that one is, off-road, rider mode, rain mode. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 modes. Since the bike ain't on, it won't let me really change modes. Screen adjust. You just push the joystick up, moves it up to go all the way, or you can push the joystick down. That's going standing up. That's all the way up. And that's the coolant temperature, auto contrast, miles per gallon. That's when it needs the next service. It's only got 2,443 miles, so July is the due date for an oil change. So I'll have to change the oil on it. Alright, let's check the home button. And this is what it does. It brings up riding modes, bike setup, trip, display setup. Alright, the riding modes. Rider, rain, road, sport, off-road. And you can change the settings in this, like ABS, road mode, ABS, and mapping, sport road, and then traction control for sport road. Not really many features, but this is the suspension. You got on-road setting or off-road settings. And you go to bike setup, TSAS, which is suspension, shift assist, which you can enable or disable and ride old school, hill hold. So all you gotta do is pull the the front brake lever twice, and it activates. So you got auto basic and auto advanced, and then manual indicators, which is when you lean the bike, it automatically turns them off. And you got ABS enabled or disabled, traction control, service. Let's see, trip setup, trip 1 and 2 reset, trip 2 display setup, theme, brightness, just visible tray, language, unit, clock, date, gear shift indicator. And let's go to the home. We press the home button. Trip display setup. Theme. Okay. Theme 1. Theme 2. Style 1. Press the home button. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one. Display setup. Theme. Try style 2. I don't know. I don't really like a lot of these themes. like the version 1 I had on it. Let's try style 3. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these are weird. Displays the temperature at the top. The fuel gauge is right in the middle. My preferred one is this one, which would be theme 1. I think it's style 1. Yeah, this is the one I prefer. Oh, there you go, style 1, style 2. I think I had it on auto. Let me see. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then when you change modes, it changes with the screen, which is good. And you got your show the buttons. You got the hazard light, and I'll show you the other way. This is a lock button. Turn the steering wheel all the way to the right, and you just press it, and it automatically locks the front wheel. Here's also another dim socket for the front, for the rider, in case you go on a really long ride like I did. We use all the dim sockets and the USB. Like I said, this bike's been completely rebuilt. If you want to learn how to turn the bike off, alright, press this button, go up. Bike displays, and then to turn the bike off, switch, hold it. It's not connected anymore. If you own this bike and you're having trouble getting this to sync with the bike, just leave this switch on the on position. But if you would happen to turn it off, you turn that switch back on. And then you hold the key fob back here, and it'll connect back together, so it'll turn the bike on. I've already been in a few places, especially when I went for a long trip and went to do that, and the bike would not connect to the key. It was very frustrating. It took a while. And I also have the RAM mount X grip for the phone. I have plenty of GoPro connectors everywhere. There you have it. That's what it looks like. The bike looks like. It's a pretty big bike, but it's actually really light riding it. And once it's moving, it's really light. It's just moving in the garage. You need to have some muscle. Pretty heavy. You can see it's like Castrol oil. Crash course saved the engine on this bike, especially in that accident I had. Had one collision with an SUV. I'll include some of the images of the bike after it was hit by the SUV and me head on. A little dirty, needs to be cleaned. Just giving you a little bit of insight on the bike while I'm riding it. The tires that are on it, the Metzlers, I think they're the Rotex. I don't even remember right now. They're loud. I've never heard tires being loud in my life until I got this bike. I've ridden sport bikes, all kinds, Ducatis, R1s, Gixxers, and I've never heard a pair of tires that were so loud. It's like when you're riding on the highway, all you hear is tire. Unless you have a comm system or listening to music. Once the bike is on the highway, it is so comfortable. It's like, it feels like you're driving a big pickup truck or a lazy boy down the road. The seat's wide. It's very padded. The only thing I don't like about the seat is when it's hot out. When it's really hot and humid, it just feels like you have the heat on the seat, like the heated seat part. Other than that, the seat is very comfortable. My wife's been on the back, and she's very comfortable on it too, with the top box and the backrest on it. It's so comfortable. It's like sometimes I start falling asleep on the highway. Get road hypnosis, but I usually start pull over and rest. The windscreen's pretty good. I thought the windscreen stopped a lot of the wind, especially on the highway when you're doing like 80 miles an hour. I am going to upgrade the windscreen eventually. I'm looking at the pubes. I need something that block a lot more wind because it's going to be a little colder. This is my second year with the bike for cold weather, so I'm trying to block as much wind as I can so it's not as cold. And especially my Icon rating jacket, that helps keep me warm in the cold weather. The other thing, once the bike's moving, it's not that heavy. It is a very top heavy bike, but like once the bike's moving, it feels just like any other bike really. It's very agile to move back and forth. It's got the 1215cc engine in it, so you pull the throttle, the thing's gonna move even if you have a passenger on it or your panniers. I've already used it a few times and I think it take off fast. I mean, not as fast as a R1 or a Pannier, but I mean, it's got some power. The seats are, I mean, I've been told to upgrade the seats if I want to get a little bit more cushion for very long trips, but we did a trip to Maryland, and the only issue I had was that day was very humid, and like I said, it feels weird, the seat, once it gets really hot and humid outside. It feels like someone's like pinching your butt or squeezing your skin, like they're trying to make it hurt. But I mean, it's other than that, like on a regular day, it's fine. The bike, when I got into the accident, that went right head on to an SUV, a brand new Jeep Compass. They pretty much rebuilt the front forks on it. They had the rim cracked, they had to get replaced, the front fender, the windscreen had to be replaced, the headlight protector, the hand guards, a lot of the front stuff had to be replaced, with the trellis frame and the gas tank. Took a few scuffs on it because of the way it fell. Because when she hit it, I went flying and hit the top of the bike and the tank. But the tank just got a few nicks on it, and they just replaced the whole thing. And it cost, I think, a total of $6,000 to rebuild the whole bike, which wasn't too bad, I don't think. But the bike runs great even after the accident, and the bike pretty much saved my life because it took the brunt of the hit from an SUV. And I'm so glad I was on this bike when that happened instead of my sport bike. And I probably wouldn't be here talking to you if I was on my sport bike when it happened. The windscreen's pretty big, and it gets pretty high. In the summer, obviously, it's got the electronic up and down windscreen, so you can push it down to get way more air. But for cooler weather, like right now, it's a little bit cooler, so it helps protect a lot of it. And when you're caught in the rain and the downpour, I actually duck behind the windscreen. It blocks a lot of the water. And in cold weather, it stops a lot of the it's like a big shield on the front of the bike shielding you. The only thing that does get wet a lot is like from your ankles down. Like for some reason, the bike doesn't really protect that part of your body when it's raining or really cold weather. So wear a good pair of boots like the Belize. That's what I wear. The horsepower on the bike, like I said earlier, it's not a sport bike, but it's got some power to it and some torque. Most of its power is in the mid-range, but it can move. It's a very nimble bike once it's moving, especially on the back roads. I enjoy it a lot on the back roads. Yeah, like I said, on the back roads, the bike handles great. It handles like a sport bike. I enjoy riding this bike and being. One of my favorite things about this bike is that it's high. So it's like I have a pickup truck, so it feels almost like if I'm in my pickup truck, but I still get all the air that you would be on a regular bike. I mean, it's very comfortable, and like I said, it makes you want to fall asleep sometimes. It's definitely not a boring bike. I did have a 2011 Tiger 800. Yeah, the reason I went from a Tiger 800 to a 1200 is because when I had all three panniers on the bike and my wife on the back, it did not have enough power for me to go on the highway, especially the way people ride on the highways and drive their semis on the highways where I live. So that's why I went with a bigger bike. It was a big difference in weight. I have dropped the Tiger twice. One time in my driveway, trying to open the garage door, and the other time was at a stoplight. I don't know what I was doing. I just ended up falling over with the bike and messed up my wrist. The difference between the two bikes is the 800 isn't that heavy when you're standing still, but the 1200 is very heavy, top heavy. One of the things I like about it too is that when you brake heavy, the front dips kind of like a sport bike. Like I came from sport bikes, so I don't have a problem with that feeling. I love that feeling. I do hear other people that have been riding like adventure bikes or touring bikes that they don't like the dipping, and they prefer other adventure bikes like the BMW GS 1200 series because it doesn't dip in the front. But I actually like that characteristic of this Tiger 1200. Like I said, I came from a sport bike world and went into a Tiger 800, and I loved it, and I traded that to get new 1200. So, I mean, I did my time on an 800, and I just thought for me I needed a little bit more power. Especially on a big bike, you need as much torque and power as you can get. If you're not a very tall person, then I would stick with an 800. I'm 6 foot and I weigh about 185, so it isn't that bad for me when I'm moving it around standing still. I can put the center stand up real easy. The only issue that it is with this bike and with every other heavy adventure bike is if you have a passenger, you have to let them know to not move a lot, especially when you're coming to a stop, because any little movement can throw off the whole weight, and all you need is to get this bike to the tipping point, and there's no saving. Once it gets to that tipping point, you need another person to help you hold it up, and it's very hard to hold the bike up when you get it to that tipping point. Gas wise, the bike is pretty good. It gets about 220 miles to the tank. I mean, if you take it easy on the bike, it gets about 260. So you're averaging between like 41 miles per gallon to like 55. It depends how you ride. And here I'm filling up the gas because I ran it down to less than half the tank. And there's a bar in the middle of the gas pocket or whatever that you put the gas in, so it doesn't let you put the gas pump in all the way. So has a stopper so you don't overfill it, I guess. It's pretty cheap on gas. I think the most I've ever put in it was about 16 bucks. That's a few gallons. I think it holds 5.2 gallons, but I never let it get empty. I find it pretty comfortable on filling up the gas. Like, I use the bike for a little bit of touring, mostly for work. On the weekends I go out here or there. I'll include a video of how to install and take off the panniers. Yeah, we're going to install the panniers on the 2018 Tiger. I'll show you how to do that. So first off, you're going to see these two little tabs there. You're going to see the tabs on the box. One right there and one right there. So they line up. So they pretty much line up, like I said, down here. There's two. And then you see these two red tabs. So you're gonna put the box in, push them in. You see how they turn green? So that means that they're in. Do the top box. So top box has the two knobs there. See, right there and right there, and this is a stopper. So same thing. You line up the two tabs and push down. You hear it click, and that's what the bike looks like with all the panniers on it. Yeah, it's a pretty big bike with all the panniers on it. This is how you take the panniers off. In case you turn the key, you pull this tab, or it says pull to remove. And there you go, comes out. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you in the next video, guys. Thanks.